I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer. Right or wrong, raping children?
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens?
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States?
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness.
The Attorney General of the United States sat in front of Congress today and refused to answer questions about raping children. That is the sentence. That is the hearing. Pam Bondi came to the House Judiciary Committee with a script, a smile, and zero intention of being accountable to anyone. And Jasmine Crockett walked in and dismantled all of it in 5 minutes flat. If you want to see the people with actual power held to account, hit subscribe and drop a like, because they are doing everything to keep this from spreading. Watch what happened.
The written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ, because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter, so let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, this is a good one. Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution.
That was not a speech. That was a prosecution. Jasmine Crockett did not come to that committee room to ask polite questions. She came with a file, a fact sheet, and the specific knowledge that Pam Bondi was not going to answer a single thing. So she made the record instead. Every line was a documented charge. Every sentence was a verdict read aloud into the congressional record. Start with this. She had two goals coming into office: end the weaponization of justice, return the DOJ to its core mission. Those are Bondi's own words from her own written testimony. And Crockett methodically demonstrated that she has done the precise opposite of both, arresting journalists while pedophile investigations stall, chasing political opponents through grand juries that keep rejecting the cases, raiding homes while Epstein files sit buried. Then came the numbers: 5,000 files, 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, and Mar-a-Lago. An FBI note describing Epstein delivering a victim to Mar-a-Lago and telling Trump, "This is a good one." Those are not allegations. Those are documented records from federal investigators, and the Attorney General of the United States sat there and said nothing. And here is what that silence means. Pam Bondi was not confused. She was not unprepared. She was protecting someone, and the someone she was protecting was sitting in the Oval Office. Now watch what she does the moment she gets a friendly congressman to hand her the microphone back.
My friend for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. And I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman. This is what she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted. So what we talking about? Convict some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting behind you, that you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
Time belongs to the gentleman from Kansas.
Mr. Chairman, could I have a few seconds back to make up for the yelling? Thank you. General, did you have anything further to say?
Texas, convicted of homicide, Cecil Joseph from Dominican Republic. Texas, convicted for kidnapping, rape, Khalid Khan from Afghanistan. That's why they want to talk about Epstein and not what's happening in their own states.
There it is. That is the entire Trump-era DOJ strategy compressed into 45 seconds. 38,000 references to the President of the United States in the Epstein files. And Pam Bondi's answer is, what about immigrants? What about Hakeem Jeffries? What about Cuba? That is not a defense. That is a magician's trick. And the rabbit they are desperately trying to keep in the hat has a name: Jeffrey Epstein, and everything those files contain. This is the pattern. This is always the pattern. When Merrick Garland sat in that chair, Republicans hammered him for 4 years about DOJ independence. The moment their loyalist takes the seat, DOJ independence means the president is untouchable and everyone who challenges him gets arrested. Don Lemon arrested. Georgia Fort arrested. Journalists raided. Grand juries instructed to pursue senators. And the Epstein files, the ones with 38,000 references to the sitting president, buried so deep that Congress has to drag a fragment into the record at a committee hearing just to get it acknowledged in public. Pam Bondi will be remembered, and Crockett said it plainly, as one of the worst attorneys general in American history. Not because she was incompetent, because she was complicit. There is a difference. Incompetence is accidental. What is happening at the DOJ right now is deliberate, systematic, and directed from above. Trump discards every loyalist the moment they stop being useful. Bondi is burning the institution to protect him. The question is what is left of it when he decides she is next. Drop a comment and tell me, is there a single line Pam Bondi could have said today that would have made this look like justice instead of a cover-up?